And so I share this because I'm sure for many empaths, it can be really challenging to feel other people's stuff. It's very challenging. And when we can learn to harness this, so it's really about just kind of flipping the switch and coming back into our power. And this is very much like, I think, a big part of my life's teaching and soul learning here on this during this incarnation is learning how to harness the gift of sensitivity and the gift of being an empath and the gift of understanding humans and others so deeply. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back. Today, I'm going to be sharing about really how everything begins at the soul and spiritual level. And I'm going to be sharing my own example of how I have recently witnessed this. I think that through our health and our bodies is a really beautiful way and has been the main way throughout my life that I have been able to see this really play out. How everything, we think things are very physical, whether it's dealing with our health, our money, our relationships, it seems very physical, but truly everything, as I've talked about, has an energetic root, but it really is, it's a soul, it's a spiritual quote problem, but really matter that we're dealing with. And so this is why I see so many people struggling, right, with their health and their relationships and their money, because we try and work so much on the physical. And here's the thing, there is work to be done on the physical, absolutely. But if we don't address the spiritual roots, we're going to keep manipulating the physical. And really, it's just your soul trying to communicate with you in a deeper way. So I'm going to share a personal story of how I saw this play out for me. So many of you may have heard my story. If you have not, I was in grad school becoming a holistic nutritionist. Meanwhile, becoming a nutritionist, I was having all of these health problems. And one of them being, I developed during grad school terrible eczema on my hands. Like, it completely took over my hands. I was doing everything that I was learning that I should be doing for my clients and patients in school, the elimination diet, these creams, I tried so many things, different foods, and nothing was helping the eczema. And I was just very confused and very disappointed, because I thought, this is what I'm learning of how to help clients, and it's not working for me. So that's how I discovered hypnotherapy. I did one hypnotherapy session, and 2 weeks later, the eczema was completely gone. So here we are. So obviously I became a hypnotherapist, and if you're watching on video, you can see the eczema on my hands is completely gone, and has never returned, which is such a blessing, because it was terrible. But recently, just last week, I got eczema again. This time it was not on my hands, it was on my eye. And it was pretty traumatic, I'm not going to lie. Because so it started like on my like scalp, like my hairline, which is important because it's all going to come together, I promise you. It started on my scalp and my hairline. And it was very just a little bit, like I wasn't super concerned. And so then though, it came down to my eye, and it was just my left eye, and it was on the eyelid. So it wasn't like in my eye, but it was so unbelievably painful. And I started thinking, it was so interesting to notice where my mind went, because my mind went back to like, what do I need to eat? What do I need to put on it? What do I need to not eat? Right? Like the very physical things, because we live in a very physical, I would say a very masculine driven society of just do something about it. Just stop eating this, start eating that, put this on it, do, physical. And then I was like, okay, started doing those. It was like just getting worse and worse. And I was like, okay, Jasmine, you know better. You know better. So I start diving into the deeper layers and roots and meanings, because I know by now that everything has a spiritual root and an emotional, a trauma, something. So here's the thing though, because it wasn't a trauma that I needed to heal. It wasn't an emotion. So I think that, and this is why I've really evolved my practice as well over the years, because I used to just think that everything was, as we learn and grow, I thought that it was like everything stemmed from a trauma in the past. And to some extent they do. Again, current understanding of all of this, to some extent they do. And then when we develop things later on in life, it's a result of just playing out that trauma, or that coping mechanism that we developed in order to not feel the emotion. However, this time was different. There wasn't a trauma I needed to go back and heal. There wasn't any of that. And I really did some work on my own. I was like trying to figure out these blocks, but this is the thing that we, especially as healers, like we can think that like, I got the tools. And a lot of times I do have the tools to just like wipe things out. But it's so important, I believe, to enlist the help of others. And this was something that for a long time was really difficult for me. I know, because I was like, oh, like I must not be like a good healer or practitioner if I need help. And that's so not the case. I think as healers, we actually may even need more support, because it's like we are helping others. So if you are a healer, I'm sure that wherever you are on your journey of being a healer, maybe it's like towards the beginning, you think you can do it all on your own. And then you realize, no, I'm supposed to have help. That's why we all have each other. So anyways, I connect with one of my favorite psychic mediums, who I have shared with you all in the past, Lisa, who has massively shifted and transformed my life. And I was like, Lisa, like, please, you got to help me here. You have got to help me here, because I am feeling like just please tap in and tell me, like, what can I do to make this go away? And she tells me immediately, she says, when she taps in, the first thing that she does is put her hands on her crown. And she says, do you realize your crown chakra is blast wide open? And with the work I do, it requires a lot of crown chakra work. It requires an open crown. It doesn't require it, but it helps to have your crown open to some degree. However, I am noticing that this has been actually a long-standing thing because I've been so sensitive most of my life. I'm an empath, a sensitive person, but this was like recently it had just gotten so intense. I very much can feel and sense and know what other people are going through. I've always had this. I can look at people and know what they're thinking. I remember as a child saying to my mom, like I was concerned, and I asked her, "Don't you get worried about what you're thinking?" Because I could literally see people's thoughts. And so I think I shut it off for a while, and then it has definitely turned back on. But anyways, my crown was completely open. And she said, your circuits are being fried. Like your circuits are literally fried. So now this is why makes so much sense that the crown of my head, the hairline, I was experiencing eczema that came down to my eye, which also the left eye is the feminine. So it was like seeing others as well as myself is a feminine attribute, whereas the right side of our body is masculine, the left side is feminine. Again, not boy or girl, just feminine and masculine. And literally after I found this out, I closed my crown chakra and I stopped consuming spiritual stuff for a few days to really just close that portal for a little bit. I think that as spiritual people, it can be I love learning, and I love constantly learning and reading and being in the energy of spiritual wisdom and all of it. But I think it's also important to take breaks and to integrate, which I always do, but especially during this few days, I just was like, okay, shutting my crown down. But I did ask my guides about it and my spirit and soul, and asking for further clarification on this, like how I can support myself. And what they shared with me too was that, and this is interesting because I shared this in the last channeled message. What I share with you guys is like, it's information for me too. So what they shared with me was direct the energy. Direct the energy. You get to choose who you want your crown open to. So I believe that this is going to help so many people. Like you can choose. You can choose. And this is something that I had literally forgotten. I had forgotten. I can choose who and what I download from, because I'm telling you, I was like walking down the street and like just downloading from everyone, and like no one can do that. That's exhausting. That's no wonder I was so tired. And again, and it was just because I had been doing all of these activations and meditations, and just like in my own work, my crown had just was continually turned on and activated. And I didn't close it. And so this is so important with any and all of our chakras. Like you can open and close them. You are a sovereign being in control of your body. If you want to open your heart, you can open it. If you're not feeling safe to have your heart open, you can close it. It's not good to walk around with an open crown, obviously. So, and your third eye, you can open your third eye, you can direct the energy. And so for me, my guides were sharing with me, like, direct the energy of your crown. So I was like, okay, because I love my intuition and I love like my psychic premonition that I receive. and like knowing when things are going to happen before they happen, especially if they are in benefit to me, or even potentially, to keep me out of harm. Like if I'm supposed to go left and I want to go right, like those are important things. And so they were just like, no, like we won't drain your energy. Like my guides and angels are not going to drain my energy. They said it's everyone else in the physical that is going to drain my energy. So direct it. You can literally instruct yourself who you want to receive downloads from. And so I share this because I'm sure for many empaths, it can be really challenging to feel other people's stuff. It's very challenging. And when we can learn to harness this, so it's really about just kind of flipping the switch and coming back into our power. And this is very much like, I think, a big part of my life's teaching and soul learning here on this during this incarnation is learning how to harness the gift of sensitivity and the gift of being an empath and the gift of understanding humans and others so deeply. I truly, it is a superpower for me that I can look at someone and understand them. I can talk to them and understand them even deeper. And when not utilized correctly, it's too draining to my energy, and I can't really actually serve others. And that's the same for any empaths. We cannot serve others if we are not being filled up, and if the energy is being misdirected. So it's about directing the energy in a way that serves us, that serves our lives, and our bodies. So, because here's the thing, my body was like, Jasmine, we cannot handle this. We can't handle this. And so here's the thing, you guys, like literally one week later, actually it was the next day, the pain was gone. The next day, it felt like, and I was sharing with people, like it felt like someone was holding a match that was lit to my eye. And I'm sure if you're watching a video, you can see it's still a little bit red. It's almost gone. It's almost gone. But it doesn't hurt anymore. Like it felt like someone was holding a match to my eye. And the next day, the pain was completely gone. And it wasn't like a little bit bad, you guys. It was like peeling, oozing. So at one point it was so swollen. It was almost like a black eye. Like it hurt every blink that I did. My circuits were fried. My body was expressing to me, we cannot handle the entire world's downloads. It fries your circuits. So if you have a physical manifestation in your body, like there's so many things here to look at, right? What side of the body is it on? Is it on the right side or the left side? Left side being feminine, right side being masculine. Where is it? Is it towards the crown? Is it towards the third eye? Is it towards the throat, the heart, the solar plexus, the sacral or the root? Like all of these can play a role. So like if you're having lower back issues, perhaps looking into the sacral or the root. If you're having stomach issues, looking at your solar plexus. I'm just throwing these out as ideas that maybe it isn't like a past trauma, and maybe it is. Our bodies are very complex, but ultimately, I believe that if we just begin to get curious enough and ask our divine sweet body temples what they're desiring from us. What do they need? What do you need to heal? And I begin, when we open up that question and that dialogue, then the universe will bring us answers. That is what happened for me. I was asking my body and the universe, like, show me what you need. Show me how I can feel good again. And within hours, I discovered then the universe will bring you the resources and guidance that you seek and desire. Okay. But we have to ask. We have to ask. And it's not just about asking, why is this happening? Right? It's about asking, okay, becoming the sovereign, powerful creator that you are, and asking, how can I feel amazing again? How can I feel better than I've ever felt? How can I be in such an incredible, loving relationship? How can I have so much money? Ask these types of questions and then watch as the universe brings you those types of answers and those types of resources. And don't be closed off to how it might look, because it can come in very different ways and circumstances and situations and people. You know, it can be very different people than you would ever imagine. I have received beautiful wisdom from homeless people. So, and it was just what I needed and asked for. And I have also, it's just, I think that we sometimes hear other people's stories and we think that that's how it's going to come to us. So be open to however it's going to come to you. And just remember, so at the end of the day, yes, I was using a cream. But here's the thing. I think it's so funny that with eczema and psoriasis and dermatological, I think that's the word, with skin issues, I think it's so funny that our current society just puts something on them. But it's why is the body creating it? It is coming from within, not from without. So that's something to look at. And our society just is very focused on these physical things, the doing, and all stems back to the energetics. It all stems back to the energetics. And maybe it's even just tuning into the energetics so that you know how to deal with the physical, how to use the physical. Maybe for some people, just doing the physical. So this is interesting. This is what they're showing me, is that for some people who have eczema or psoriasis and they do these diets and they work and it clears up the eczema, maybe for those people, they needed to learn to eat healthy. Maybe for a lot of people, they needed to learn to eat healthy, because that's what the soul needed for its ascension and growth, was to be a more clear vessel filled with more pure and healthy foods, right? So it can be using the physical, it can be, but it's always going to be about the energetic. It's always going to be addressing that root and that place where it stemmed from, and that deeper meaning that your soul desires you to know, because your soul is just trying to talk to you. And so your soul is going to try and talk to you through your body, through others, through your environment, through your life circumstances. It's all just your soul talking to you. Contrary to what we've been told, it's all just a reflection of our soul communicating with us. And so with that, my loves, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. Let me know you're listening. And until next time, I'm sending you all infinite love.